Hey guys, Mistmaster1 here, and welcome back to more Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1. I'm losing my touch on that. Anyway, in the last episode, in episode 22, we pretty much went to revisit Traverse Town after we finished up Monstro over here. We met up with Geppetto and Pinocchio again. We also did the second page in 100 Acre and got ourselves the almighty Spellbinder Keyblade, which we'll be putting to use in this episode as we take on the Pegasus Cup at Olympus Coliseum. Before we get started, little qualifications you need in order to have that spawn, like the cup to actually initiate. You need to complete the Monstro world. You see like the little symbol where a keyhole normally would be? God forbid, I wouldn't want to know where a keyhole in Monstro is, so I'm glad that that's just there instead. So yeah, whenever you see like those like two little arrow things, you've sealed the keyhole, quote-unquote, of Monstro. You finished everything there, and now we're just gonna head over to Olympus Coliseum and get started on our next tournament. So let's go. Still haven't changed my gummy ship. I need to do that for the next episode because we will be traveling to New Worlds starting on episode 24. This is episode 23, I believe, so yeah. In the next episode, well, when am I saying that in the next episode? We still have a whole thing to do this video. I'll get back to that at the end of the video. Hey Hercules, do you have anything else new to say this time? Well, you said that last time when we went for the Phil Cup. I guess he doesn't have anything new to say, but we will face Hercules possibly at some point, but not right now. So now that we have come back here, and we say know the rules, right, we now have the Pegasus Cup to enter just like the Phil Cup. Before we enter, of course, my recommendations for this have the Spellbinder, the White Fang. Like, it doesn't really matter what your second accessory is. The Ray of Light is always great, especially for level 1. Spellbinder and Ray of Light, and then whatever other accessory you want really doesn't matter. Items, I would recommend you have yourself an Ether and a Mega Ether because MP is going to start becoming very important. I mean, it always has been, but now that we've reached this point of mid-game, MP is extremely valuable. And also a Mega Potion, just in case things get really out of whack and you kind of need your party members to help distract with some of the other enemies there. But apart from that, that's pretty much it. Still same shortcut menu, Fyra, Blizzara, Cure. Let's get started on the Pegasus Cup. Enter together. And right away, compared to the Phil Cup, you'll notice we have a much darker set sort of tone for the area in the little Coliseum we have here. And we're going to start with the 9th seed, which is this little thing of a Bandit, 2 Search Ghosts, and 3 Air Soldiers. I also forgot to bring up in the Phil Cup, you can actually pause right here and quit out or restart. Continue, unpause as restart will start you back from the beginning of the cup, and then quit if you just don't want to do this anymore. So, little thing I want to explain there, but also, this is the start. You remember when I said, I've been saying this whole time, you'll pretty much die in 2 hits to everything in this game, but there's like very small exceptions to that? Well, take a look at the damage we'll actually take from the enemies here if we can get one of them to attack me. Watch my HP during this, okay? Notice how little damage it actually did to me. I just took 2 hits right there, and you can even take another hit and you can still survive. And there we go. You can actually take 3 hits before you'll actually die. You can take, your HP is set at level 1 in this particular point of the game, and for a few other instances later on, but specifically in the Olympus Coliseum Cups, to the point where you can actually take 3 hits before you die. Well, 4 hits before you die, but by the time you get hit 4 times, what are you gonna do? So yeah, you can actually take 3 hits and survive, which is something that almost never happens in this game when you're playing at a level 1 playthrough. Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the new things that are to be introduced in just level 1 in general, but now that we've gotten that underway, just keep that in mind for a few situations later on. Now we're going to just go back on to the Pegasus Cup, and of course, now that we have ourselves the Spellbinder Keyblade 6 MP and leveled up magic, a lot of these enemies are going to be dying instantly in 1 hit, like so. Here are the Barrel Spiders back in action again from Monstro, and something we may not have necessarily shown off is that they can actually do like a little kamikaze charge sort of deal, and when they do charge at you like that and they do connect, they will explode and deal damage to you, so watch out for that, but they're pretty easy enemies to deal with altogether. Of course, this being the Pegasus Cup, it's the next cup after this. This will feature some new Heartless that we've seen in the worlds of midgame, such as Agrabah and Monstro, and a few other ones we've already dealt with before, like so we have the Fat Bandit, we have the Large Bodies. We actually haven't seen Large Bodies for a little bit. We have our good friend the Pot Spiders, but since we're in the Pegasus Cup and we actually can take more than 1 hit before we absolutely have to heal, they're not so threatening. Just make sure that, oh my god, I'm sorry about that, I just made a really awful noise, like scratching nails on a chalkboard there. But yeah, don't really worry about it. Your magic will take care of pretty much every single enemy in this little area with relative ease. Just make sure, as always, don't get too overzealous with your magic usage. Because that's why I have the ethers there in emergency if I do go a little too crazy with my magic, but you don't want to rely on it fully through all of these. I would only recommend, like, in this instance, only use it once, just to get rid of some of the enemies, and now let's focus on some of the other ones individually with physical attacks, so of course we can just start getting our MP back. I mean, there is a chance I may not even have to use my ethers at all, or even any of my items like the other Mega Potion that's there, but just in the event something really sketchy is going on and you want to be completely safe about things, it does not hurt to have certain items like that available to you. And as you see right there, I had like maybe just under 5 bars of MP, and by dealing with the enemies with just physical hits, I almost have my entire MP gauge charged up and almost overcharged to the point that I have an extra orange bar on top. So yeah, Blizzara is your best friend in a lot of these fights. Use Blizzara there, and that pretty much weakens the Search Ghost down to literally no health. Do one combo after a Blizzard and they die, like so. And now we only have the Fat Bandits to deal with, which, interestingly enough, you can actually use fire on them, and they're not resistant to it. In Kingdom Hearts 2, I believe, they give the Fat Bandits in that game a resistance to fire. Like, if you try to use it, it won't do anything. But in this game, as you can see, use another one, they are not resistant to it, so by all means, if it's convenient for you, especially since fire is geared towards a single-hit target, as Blizzara is to multi-hit targets, feel free to use that. There are not very many instances in Kingdom Hearts 1, actually, where there are very specific elemental differences outside of certain boss enemies. When it comes to regular enemies, 90% of the enemies you can use pretty much any magic you want on them, and they will die. Now here we have ourselves a new enemy we actually have not encountered yet. These are the Black Fungus. These guys can actually appear starting in mid-game on various parts of the world, like in the Bazaar in Agrabah, and in a certain graveyard, if you know what I mean, but we'll get into that soon enough. So yeah, they're like the white mushrooms, but they're kind of a lot more offensive, and they don't really want to help us at all. If you go near them, jump in the air, and they will excrete poison like so, like the poisonous mushrooms they are. And that will actually, like Parasite Cage, if you get hit by the sort of stomach acid attack that Parasite Cage has, it will poison you briefly. And yeah, just watch out for that. You want to stay clear of them, and also they'll enter this petrified sort of status where no matter what you do, they will not take any damage from anything. Physical attacks don't do anything. Magic attacks don't really do anything, I'm pretty sure. I don't obviously have scans, so I can't say that for a fact, but I'm pretty sure magic also doesn't work on them. A little strategy you could use is to, since we acquired this spell recently, use a gravity on them, and then use any type of magic, and that will instantly kill them, and that will save you a lot of hectic work later on if you absolutely have to deal with them. That's pretty much the go-to strategy. They can also cast that little poisonous magic even while they're in this sort of petrified status where you can't hit them. Just avoid them until they eventually turn back to their normal selves. Which can be a bit tedious, but they will eventually turn back like so. They're not so bad, but they can just be tedious enemies when it comes to how long it takes to actually kill them, not so much what they can actually do. And rolling up next is the third seed, 5 pot spiders and 5 barrel spiders, and if you just use, oh my goodness, if you just use Blizzard, it feels so cheap in essence, but that's literally all you have to do is, oh no, they're gonna, don't do it, man, aw, he killed himself, isn't that a shame? All you really have to do is just, you know, use magic on them, and they'll pretty much instantly die. That's the beauty of having 6 MP, is your magic is a lot stronger than it was even just like 5 or so episodes ago, when we only had, like, you know, we were just starting to get into 4 MP, like 6 or 7 episodes ago we didn't even have any way to increase our MP, and we only had 3. Now we have double that, and our magic is just absolutely off the charts for this point in the game. And this can be a bit of a daunting little cup here. Nice, I actually reflected that fireball back. We have 3 Fat Bandits and, 3 Fat Bandits and 2 large bodies. First things first. Since they're easy to deal with, use 2 Fyras, and you can get rid of these guys pretty much immediately. Get rid of the large bodies, we've already seen what they can do, not a big deal. And then these guys actually have a fair amount of health, so you want to be careful about that. This is also the point where you want to be keeping an eye on your MP, because we will have to do one more fight after this, and it is easily the hardest thing that this cup has to offer. As a general rule of thumb, it is up for debate in the last two cups, but specifically for the Pegasus Cup and the Phil Cup, the number 1 seed is in fact the most difficult thing that you will have to endure. So just keep in mind that you don't want to exhaust so much MP when you're so close to the end, and even if you absolutely do have to, of course, use an ether, but also just be mindful of your MP, like I said before. Okay, I'm going to use Fire on this guy, weaken him down a little bit more. Let's get some more MP back right here. And by this point, if you don't have a lot of MP, what I recommend, that's fine, chuck an ether right before the first seed, so you have 5 to 6 MP going into this last one. Now this is the tough one out of this this cup right here, because we have to fight Leon and Yuffie. We fought Leon once before, but Yuffie is a completely new addition that we haven't even remotely dealt with before. And Leon moves really fast, and what's it called? Yuffie shoots these little shuriken blades that will heat seek you like our fire spell does, but you can actually parry them and reflect them back at her, and also on Leon. But she also has this little attack right here, which should create a magical shuriken, and that's also like a little heat-seeking thing as well, and that lasts for like a good 10 seconds, and the only real way you can deal with it is to, like, maybe jump over it, maybe. Sometimes that's even too much to ask for on its own. Leon still has his, what's it called? Fireball attack. We can also stun him with the shuriken like that. And Goofy also does a good job at reflecting the shurikens back at Yuffie as well. But most of the time, it's going to be up to you to actually deal with it. That's pretty much all Yuffie can do, but take note, Yuffie is the one you want to take out first out of these two, despite Leon, in my opinion, being the bigger threat overall. Because, unbeknownst to you, if you try to take on Leon, and, you know, you get a pretty reasonable way down on his health, Yuffie has this particular move, similar to our Cure spell. If you listen carefully, I don't know when she'll use it, but you'll hear her say the words, "Hey, ease up," and whenever she does do that, she will initiate a little curative spell on herself. Okay, that's her magical shuriken. We can parry that or jump out of the way. Yuffie's actually, or Goofy, Yuffie and Goofy, I mean, what's the difference? Oh, they're dead now, so I have to play careful. Yeah, did you hear that right there? And you see that little animation? That means that she has healed herself, and she can also use that on Leon if his health is not doing so hot either. So what you really need to do is focus on specifically... Keep in mind Leon is there, of course, but you need to get Yuffie out of here before you really focus on Leon, otherwise you're never going to take them down. So, do your best, reflect the shurikens. If you attack her while she's in the middle of her little ease up animation where she's healing herself, you'll manage to interrupt it. Let's get some magic going on her. This will do a lot more damage. There we go. You see that white flash and the stars above Yuffie? That means she's dealt with. But yeah, you need to try to make sure you interrupt her little curative spell right there. And now, once we've done that, it's basically just a fight with Leon, similar to what we had before. Although he has quite a few new moves since the last time we fought him. Of course, as you see right here, he'll actually, like, try to run at you. Ow. He has that fireball, like that little gunblade fireball thing from before. He has the, he actually has a little move right there where he does a little spin around attack. I forget the exact move, what that's called. I don't think that's... Maybe it's Spiral Cut. I could be wrong on there. I'll probably put a little note on the screen to say what attack it is. But, yeah, there's a few things. He's a lot more aggressive than in the first encounter. He can still shoot the fireballs. He does this, like, little cross-cleaving attack where he just, charges his little, like, running thing up, and then he'll do a sweep on the ground, and then eventually he will just, try to jump in the air and just, swing back down on you to do, like, a little mini shockwave attack. But, after you've done a bit of damage, he'll do this little thing. This is his Blasting Zone limit break from Final Fantasy VIII, and it basically gives him uber range with his weapon. Like, watch how far away he can attack us from, like, all the way over there, and you'll have to just keep in mind of the distance of, you know, it's still not too difficult to dodge, just be mindful of the sort of field advantage he has now that he can attack you from sort of longer distances. And a funny little thing is that when I was actually doing the practice trial of this to make the video for this episode, I actually got a glitch, which you guys can see at the end of this episode. I'll have as like a little bonus, just so you can see what happens. But basically, it does involve this little thing he's doing now with his charged up gunblade, where it's all blue and stuff. And if you listen really carefully, you can also hear it. It actually has like this little whirring sound effect, like a wah, because of like the little blue glowy stuff it has, all the fancy stuff. Oh my goodness, okay. You can also interrupt his little charging attack like that if you manage to shoot a fire at him, and let alone just stagger him, like so. Shoot the fireball back at him to stun him. And again, just don't be overly greedy with your attacks, and make sure you know what you're doing, make sure you back up when the time is right, and Leon won't really pose too much of a threat, especially when he is now on his own, because really, I honestly think the only thing that makes this fight difficult is the fact that Yuffie is there to harass you with her shurikens, and also provide healing for both her and Leon. But once she's out of the picture, Leon can't do anything to heal himself. You basically just have to beat the crap out of him until you see the next white flash, and that will signify the end of the fight. And now that I've explained all that, he should be close to death. I'm going to be using some slight cheap tactics, and there we go. That is the Pegasus Cup. Not too difficult. I mean, I'm not going to be that much of a douche and say it's not that difficult. That fight can be tough if you don't know how to prioritize. Like I said before, key to the seeds in these tournaments is to prioritize your target. Take out Yuffie, then Leon.
We're the champs!
And we learned the strike rate ability. That's an interesting little move I'll have to show off at some point. That was great! Looks like Phil's trained another great hero. Is strength the most important part of a hero? Well, what you really need is a strong heart. Well, imagine that in a game called Kingdom Hearts. What makes a strong heart? If you have to ask, you're not a hero yet. Stop talking in riddles! It's not a riddle! Aw, man, okay. And, yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it. And, like, the Phil Cup, now that we've done, the group, cup, I need to start thinking about what I'm trying to say. We can just access the solo cup, but of course I'm going to leave that till a future point. I plan to do all the solo cups except one in the same video, because there is one more cup that needs to be unlocked before I can actually do that, so for the time being, I think that's pretty much going to do it. We just went through the Pegasus Cup, got ourselves the strike rate ability, hurl the Keyblade at enemies, select the follow-up attack at the right time for a combo. Actually, interesting little thing, I will be showing off Sonic Blade in, not the next video, but in the next world we're going to. This little ability right here will actually have some use. I'll try to think of a way I can show off Strike Rate and have it be remotely useful, not until like way later in the game where there's this one instance it is. Maybe in the next 2 or 3 worlds I can show it off to have some particular use, but until then, we're gonna cut the video here, and that'll be it, guys. So, I've been Mr. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 23 of Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1, and in the next episode, we are actually going to explore the next world in mid-game, which will be this one right here, past Monstro, but we're going to take a little bit of a scenic route. I'm going to do myself a favor and set up for the next video ahead of time. We are going to quickly warp drive to Agrabah real quick. I need to stop being redundant. I just say the first thing that comes to my head, and it's not very good. It makes me sound like more of an idiot than I already am. But yeah, we're gonna warp drive to Agrabah, and we will take the scenic road by driving to this world first, and then go to this world immediately after that next time on Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix HD Proud Level 1. And until then, guys, I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Hey, you guys remember that glitch I was talking about earlier? Well, here it is. Here's the fight against Leon and Yuffie, but if you look really closely, you see that little thing right there? How he has a ridiculous range, and you saw like the little blue sheen of like the swipes right there, and it's just attacking me from way far away. Well, this was a glitch I encountered during practice. He just took out Donald right there. I don't know what ended up happening, or like what, or why, but I think it was because I was attacking Leon at a very particular point, and I actually skipped the little animation of him powering up his little gunblade into like the powered up blue gunblade, like you saw earlier in the video, and you see parried from like nowhere near. It has the properties of the extended gunblade, but it only shows up graphically as his regular gunblade, and I just found that really bizarre. You can hear like the whirs of the gunblade and stuff. He can attack me from really stupidly far away. You can see like the blue outline of it. I don't know. Just a little bonus I wanted to show you guys because of how stupid this was, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to see you guys in the next episode, episode 24. Just thought I'd share this with you, this little interesting experience I had during practice. So yeah, see you guys in the next video.